So do I do it now?
Yeah, do it now.
Okay. Oh fuck! I missed it. Podcast. That's the intro to the podcast.
Okay, I'm glad we have a good intro to the podcast. All right, welcome to.
We gotta make sure they know what they're getting in for.
All right, welcome to the Herocast.
The Heropack podcast, the Herocast.
Yeah, where we talk about Fisk Heroes news and just general superhero news and Insult Hal.
Yeah. Okay, listen. I agreed too early. God damn. Can't catch a break from you.
Okay, so starting off,
you're not even gonna introduce yourself to the lovely audience.
So I'm hi, I'm Skar. Scarred Heroes.
Yeah.
I'm Scarred Heroes.
Yeah, that is your full legal name.
That is my full legal name, Scarred Heroes. Creator of Scarred Heroes.
And I'm Steve Buscemi. Let's get into this.
Yeah, we're your hosts. Next week, if anybody watches this, we'll have a guest host.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a guest.
If it even happens. You can vote to see if it happens by just watching this video.
I don't want to.
So if you're hearing this, then you've already helped. So thank you.
Skar, this is a live stream moment. We better get into this.
Okay, well you were gonna introduce yourself and you called yourself Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, because that's my name.
Oh my god! All right, this is Hal, resident idiot.
Is that what we're calling me? Is that my working title?
Yes.
Alrighty then. Well, we got Fisk in Heropack news. For Fisk Heroes news, the mod hasn't been updated in like 6 months. Had to check my watch. And so there's the Fisk Heroes news.
Okay, well, to be a little more specific, in the world of hero packing, we have had let me pull up my it's a good thing I can edit this out.
Yeah, wow, you're really going over there and pulling the whole thing up in the middle of it.
So in the last week, the Los Polos Hermanos Hero Pack by Corpse and Sky High Heroes by Aiden Angry Bird were updated. In the last 2 weeks, Dino Thunder Power Rangers Hero Pack was updated, and posted 3 weeks ago is Shadows Hero Pack by Shadow Dev. That's it for released packs. As for teasers for existing ones, Scarred Heroes revealed a Green Goblin being worked on. Yes, I did.
News to me.
Unconventional Heroes showed off the Fortnite glider for Nightwing.
Top comment is gonna be Oliver punching the fucking air.
And did something else happen?
Probably not.
Oh, Stellar Heroes revealed a rock. Wait, never mind. Stellar Heroes is not public. I just realized that. So never mind. That's all the news we have today.
All right, just blur it, just bleep that whenever you get to that point in the video. Just bleep it. Just bleep whatever hero pack that was. You'll never know what hero pack that was. Somebody's getting updates, but you'll never know.
And Worlds Apart was renamed to Project Portal. So that's all the news for hero packing we have this week.
And we'll see you next week when they get their name changed again.
That is true.
Right.
So moving on to general superhero news. Hal, you want to start with the first article?
Yeah, of course.
Are we pausing for the dead silence?
We're pausing because I kind of had a stroke. Deadpool 3 sounds interesting. I heard they're getting Logan for that.
Yeah,
They defiled my man's grave and brought him back for Deadpool 3.
Well,
I mean, play a role in Deadpool 3 after being killed in Logan.
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's gonna be a big role or if it's just gonna be a cameo. I feel like they've hyped it up too much for it.
They've
to be
hyped it up
small.
so much for him to just be like there. I feel like he's gonna be a secondary protagonist.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna like make it into the MCU and just be there?
Isn't Deadpool now in the MCU with this movie?
I believe so.
Yeah, then this also brings Wolverine into the
But
MCU.
you think he's gonna stay for later films?
I really hope so, because Deadpool would bring such a nice presence to the MCU, but I hope it's not like a Venom thing where he just shows up and then dips the fuck out.
Yeah. Do you think
Not
Do you
often.
think it's gonna be from the? Do you think it's gonna be present day Wolverine from the Deadpool like series, or do you think it's gonna be from further in the past to kind of reset the character?
My take on what I think will happen, they've been doing a lot of shit with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is like public enemy number one for Marvel.
He's the new Iron Man.
Yeah, money grabbing fingers. He's like prime candidate. So I feel like they're gonna have some like resurrection spell or Doctor Strange going back in time or something to bring him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not dead. He's dead in the future, in an alternate future. So he's still alive as of when Deadpool 3 would take place.
Well, then probably just make like a portal or something, because like I feel like there's no way they're gonna make it out of this movie without name dropping Doctor Strange, because they are sucking that man's dick like it's a second job.
I mean, it is Benedict Cumberbatch.
I would suck the fuck out of Benedict Cumberbatch.
You wanted quotes? Here's the first one.
Oh my fucking god. Alright, I'll put it in the quotes and you can select another topic of conversation.
Okay, so in the world of gaming, EA is making at least 3 Marvel games. And it is the first of those being the Iron Man game that we heard of a few weeks ago. See, a lot of people, speaking about going back to our earlier conversation before this podcast started of separating the artist from the art, a lot of people don't separate the publisher from the developer.
That is true.
Respawn and Motive are 2 studios that have a pretty good track record. So when people hear that it's being published by EA, they think, oh, this is gonna be trash. Where Respawn and Motive both have really good track records. The Iron Man game is shaping up to be great, which, I mean, you know, doubt it all you want, because I think that that's just gonna make the game better.
It would be pleasantly surprising for the game to actually be good. I'm not holding my breath.
It could still be bad. It still could be bad, but Motive has had a good track record. I think it's promising.
Anthem also existed at one point in time, so there's points for and against them.
True. I think the design of Iron Man so far, they didn't reveal much, but the diamond-shaped arc reactor looks kind of cool.
I don't have an issue with their Iron Man design that they showed off, or at least the little peek at it. I think the diamond arc reactor is a pretty different take, because he's never had a diamond, I don't think, at least in that shape before. He probably has in the comics. I mean, they'd slap a dodecahedron on his chest. But I do like the eyes on the Iron Man suit that they revealed, how he's kind of like, they've got him like slanted and kind of angry instead of the goofier look with the straight eyes.
It's a very diamond shaped
he's very,
suit.
He's
like his shoulders look very angular. Yeah, I think it's it might not be the final design, but I think if it is, it's still pretty cool.
I gotta say, no matter how bad this game is, if they got Robert Downey Jr. to voice him, I would.
I can promise you that they are not getting him to voice him.
Bro, it's EA. They got Robert Downey Jr. money.
I don't think so.
Fuck you.
Well, fine.
But what other games do you think they have? Have those been revealed? What the other Marvel games are?
I do not believe so. But we do know that there's also a Captain America and Black Panther, not T'Challa. I don't even think it's T'Chaka. I think it's T'Chaka's father, as as the Black Panther in the game and Captain America from the 40s. So they're going to be fighting Hydra.
I think a Captain America game like that would be very cool. I know there's one for like the Xbox 360. I've seen some like speed runs of it before. It's kind of just
like the
an
movie
Arkham
tie-in
clone.
game.
Yeah. But as far as movie tie-ins go, I think that's like the first movie tie-in that I didn't hate because they mostly just stole everything from Arkham and just said Captain America.
Well, I think one of the games considered to be the best movie tie-in game is the Wolverine game, based off of Origins.
That was a movie tie-in?
Yeah, it wasn't.
I thought they just made that shit for fun.
It was at first. So the reason why the game didn't end up utter trash is because normally a game should have like 2 years to be made. I'm pretty sure that's around the time that they give for games. Specifically sequels, maybe. I don't remember. All I know is that they had a lot more time than they should have had because they were working on it before as a Wolverine game. They found out they were making a movie, and then they partnered, and then the movie was delayed. So it gave them the chance to.
Who the fuck is that?
I know you said that you were trying not to talk, but like I got a dumbest grin on my face when that happened.
I was just gonna give it a passing comment, like, who the fuck is that? But anyway, Wolverine tie-in game.
Yeah, so it got more time than it should have had because it allowed them to, like, there was gonna be a ton more quick time events, which everybody hates. So they went back and they removed all those, and I think the game ended up really good. And a lot of people are hoping that the next Wolverine game by Insomniac is going to be like it.
Okay, I'm coming out here with my first hot take of the day. I am really disappointed that the second Marvel hero that they got their hands on was Wolverine. I was really hoping they would get Iron Man before EA, but Wolverine, he's alright. Wolverine's been growing on me more and more as of recent, so I might actually pick up the Wolverine Insomniac game, because like there's no way they can make it bad.
No, I think if anything, they're gonna make me love Wolverine way more. Like I think they can do Wolverine in such a good way that it's gonna make him one of my favorite superheroes. That's the faith I have in Insomniac.
Yeah, Insomniac's really built a lot of good faith with comic book fans, and I really hope that they keep that going.
Yeah, speaking of which,
into Spider-Man 2.
Speaking of which, they did announce that Spider-Man 2 is still being in development, and not planning on being delayed. A lot of people have been worried. I guess there's rumors going around that the reason that they haven't said anything is because of the lawsuit against Xbox for the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Because now they might make a ton of games platform exclusive, and not a great look for PlayStation to reveal a ton of PlayStation exclusives during this time.
I was wondering if they had a good reason as to why they weren't showing anything about Spider-Man 2, because they have been like dead silent about Spider-Man 2, and I'm like, where is it? Where's my boy? I really thought it was gonna get delayed, but I'm happy to hear that it's not planned to be.
Which, to be honest, like I really do kind of dislike that Xbox has been doing that so much. One of my favorite game series is Elder Scrolls, and that's looking like it's gonna be only on Xbox.
Remember when we got the trailer for Elder Scrolls 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand why they revealed that if it was literally like half a decade away from even like a kind of completion.
Yeah, and I really dislike the fact that it looks like it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. I mean, it'll be on PC, but like still.
Well, as long as it's on PC, then I'll probably still pick it up. I honestly have such a soft spot for Skyrim. I've been replaying it a lot recently, but I don't think the Elder Scrolls 6 would be like nearly have as much fun bugs or have as much little quirks as Skyrim does. I think Skyrim is the enjoyable, quirky white girl of the video game world. Like, yeah, you can enjoy being around them for a little while until it gets on your nerves how quirky they are, and then you just go about the rest of your day.
I've always loved it. I've always felt like picking it back up, and when I do, I play it for a long time.
Yeah, I've got 700 hours in the game. Who the fuck is that?
I think mentioning it constantly and interrupting our conversation isn't the best.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, I do enjoy the modding scene for Skyrim a lot as well.
Yeah,
I think that's
if they
been the
don't build a
lifeblood
good
of it.
modding framework, they're doomed. I'm
You know,
really
with
excited for Starfield, but like again, I dislike the fact that any company that PlayStation has acquired, I could be wrong about this, but anything that they've made exclusive, they already like had exclusive, because didn't they not? Again, I could be wrong, but didn't they not acquire Insomniac until after they already made a few PlayStation exclusives?
Insomniac. Insomniac made Spyro, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did. And Spyro's a PlayStation exclusive, or at least he was for a good long time. So, I mean, Insomniac had done work with PlayStation before.
Yeah, so like any company that I again, not sure, but I believe that most of the companies they've acquired and made exclusives were already making exclusives for them. So it's not like they just took a big game company that makes beloved franchises and made that franchise only on their console. And yes, Xbox also has it on PC, but like not everybody has a PC, you know. So it does kind of stink that they're just going through and just acquiring as many companies as possible. And I think if it's definitely going to be a blow to PlayStation's player base if they lose Call of Duty.
I think that if they really try and like take away games like the Elder Scrolls series and Call of Duty and stuff from PlayStation at all, then the blowback from that will be pretty severe.
And I do feel like it definitely could incite more investigations into Monopoly.
Oh yeah, that's true. They have been snatching bitches up like crazy.
Yeah,
collecting companies like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, the Activision Blizzard acquisition it's a big thing.
Say that 5 times fast.
Activision Blizzard acquisition. I'm not gonna say it 4 more times. Alright, we should probably move back to superheroes. So, I think that's it for gaming. Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns has been delayed. I believe it comes out I believe the beginning of next year. It looks pretty cool. A lot of people dismissing it because it's a card-based strategy game made by the creators of XCOM, but I think it's still, the story looks interesting. Focuses on the more supernatural, darker side of Marvel, including characters like Ghost Rider, Nico Minoru, I think her name is, Magic, Doctor Strange, Blade.
I just really don't like the trope of like always having to have an excuse for heroes to fight each other, like how the evil green lady's like, oh, I got the Hulk now. I really hate how heavily superheroes and comics and shit like that so heavily rely on the crutch of like, oh, it's mind control. I think they should find a better plot device or a better reason as to why heroes would be fighting each other.
Yeah. I think they just really wanted recognizable villains, but couldn't use others.
Recognizable villains? That's why they made villains in the first place. If they were just gonna have heroes fight each other, then why have villains?
Yeah, I mean, but like, I'm not sure. They might have not been able to use villains, or like the story they wanted to tell wouldn't make sense with certain villains.
They got Venom. What do you mean they don't have villains?
Oh, true. Oh, wait, well, I mean, 2 of them are villains, and 2 of them are heroes. Because there's Scarlet Witch and Hulk were possessed, and then Beast and not Beast. Who's the Wolverine villain? Sabretooth. And Venom are also possessed. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I think it's a little even out.
It's always just rubbed me the wrong way how much they use that, because it's in like every superhero plot ever. Like,
Yeah.
find a different excuse.
Yeah.
It's like you walk into school for like the 500th day in a row with like, oh, I got a cold. Like, do you really have a cold? Do you really need to keep using the cold? Why don't you mix it up? Get the flu or something.
Yeah. But I think the game's shaping up to be pretty cool looking. I definitely think that side of the Marvel Universe needs some more exploration. DC gets that side explored all the time with the Justice League Dark stuff, and I think that Marvel hasn't, and it looks like Marvel in general is starting to move that way with Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, and going into Blade and Black Knight. It looks like they're definitely going that way, and I think that's interesting because a big complaint of the MCU lately has been the
how like child friendly it is.
Yeah, and the comedy, and it looks like they might be moving away from that with Marvel Zombies being TVMA and Deadpool 3 being rated R.
Yeah, if they do go in a grittier tone with the MCU, I feel like that would really open the door to one of the things I've been waiting for like 500 years, and that's Marvel's take on Injustice. Because, like, yeah, there's like Marvel vs. Capcom and other Marvel-esque fighting games, but I really just want Injustice but with Marvel characters, and that doesn't really exist right now. But I really hope if they keep moving in this direction, that maybe they could.
So, like a Marvel fighting game.
Yeah, I know those already exist.
Yeah,
but they're all like cartoony, and like the most recent one has fucking Phoenix Wright in it. So
yeah,
like, how Marvel is it?
Yeah. So actually funny you should say that. A while ago, one of like the leads of NetherRealm Studios posted a poll saying, what would you like to see NetherRealm do next? And it was another Mortal Kombat game, Injustice 3, a Marvel fighting game, or Marvel versus DC. I guess he's known as a jokester though, so it could be fake or a joke, but it was trending for a while, and I think that if Marvel and DC decided to team up like that, it would probably be one of the best-selling games of all time.
It would definitely make waves if they had like all the recognizable cast and all the fun gameplay of Injustice, but with Marvel characters mixed in. Because, like, yeah, Batman goes a long way, but you got fucking Spider-Man if you've got Marvel. And, like, I'm not even saying that out of a place of bias. If you Google who is the most popular superhero, it is Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the most popular, most recognizable, most money-grabbing superhero that there is right now. And I feel like if they got Spider-Man in an Injustice-type game, then it would make numbers.
Yeah, and a lot of people saying that Marvel would never let any of its characters near DC or near WB.
That's already happened before.
Exactly. If you're talking just Marvel and DC, they've worked together in the past multiple times.
Yeah, they literally have comics, officially published comics of Spider-Man and Batman teaming up to take down Green Goblin.
And that could, I don't remember what era that was in, because I know like at one point DC was going to be acquired by Marvel. Or no, they weren't going to be acquired. Marvel almost got the publishing rights to DC characters, and at one point Marvel was working under DC. So who knows of that? But if you're talking in the modern age, Disney lets its characters near WB all the time with Lego.
Yeah.
The Lego games are made by WB Games. Lego Movie is made by WB. They have Disney characters strewn all over them. So it's definitely a possibility.
Games like Disney Infinity is a big one of those, because they had like the whole Avengers thing, and they even had like Spider-Man.
Well, that was made by Disney.
Yeah, that was made by Disney, but that was pretty sure around the same time that Lego Dimensions kind of copied the same idea and did the same thing. I don't remember if any Marvel characters
I don't
got
think
into
so.
Lego Dimensions.
No Marvel characters for sure.
Yeah, they were.
But maybe some Disney.
Marvel's always been kind of related with Lego and having that bridge to WB.
Yeah.
I feel like that could happen.
And Marvel's been getting a lot more love from Lego lately. The sets, we're getting more and more collector's sets per year. And it went from like 2 of all time to now we've gotten 3 in like a year. But going back to
a good day to enjoy Legos.
Yeah, going back to the MCU, Marvel revealed that they are doing a assembled for She-Hulk. But they are also doing something similar. But it's not called Assembled. It's not part of the Assembled series. It's called Director by Night. And it goes into, I believe, the behind the scenes of Werewolf by Night. But going into more of the director, Michael Giacchino, who this was, I believe, his directorial debut, and I love his music. He's done music for things like The Batman, Lightyear, I believe Up.
Oh man, music for Up hits different.
Spider-Man, No Way Home, Far From Home, and Homecoming, as well as Doctor Strange. I think his music is some of the best I've ever heard, and I love it. So the fact that he's such a great director on top of that, I'm surprised Marvel even let somebody do a directorial debut for an MCU project, but I'm so glad they did. And I hope that he continues to direct more Marvel things going forward, because Werewolf by Night was perfect.
That definitely shows that they have a lot of confidence in him if they're willing to let him do a directorial debut with, like, Marvel properties and shit.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And I hope that they put more faith into more and more branches, including visual effects.
Yeah, I've always been interested in the visual effects side of things, because it's kind of like the backbone of the MCU these days, and they get, like, so heavily crunched.
Yeah, it's sad, but
it's sad, really.
Yeah, but I mean, even just like visual effects are fun, and I've always seen myself going into it, maybe like in another world, or maybe maybe one day I'll get into it. Just this set that you're looking at right here was very fun to make, and it's all an elaborate lie. I can just boom the tables a PNG. Where
no,
it's all a lie. We've been lying to you this whole time. Look, now we're in the void.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You gotta put reality back together, man. I don't like this.
Reality is whatever I want it to be.
You're sitting over there with the reality stone. I'm suffering.
I mean, we spent hours making this set, and it was fun.
It's a very nice set.
And I'd love to do more of that visual effects stuff, but it's definitely disheartening, and it turns you away almost, knowing that it's not exactly a great field to succeed in.
Yeah.
So
not even a great field to, like, exist in.
Yeah. So hopefully we start to see that fixed.
Yeah.
So
maybe more about Spider-Man 2. We can always talk about Spider-Man 2.
What? There's no news for Spider-Man 2.
I know, but there's a lot of speculation for Spider-Man 2 about some of the gameplay things that are going to be coming, like Peter having the tentacles and how the symbiote's going to affect the plot.
I like I think having the tentacles is cool, but I also really hate the idea of him constantly having the Waldos.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be toggleable. There's no way they're going to make Spider-Man's frame that big. Because, like, how is he going to fit in a cutscene if he's got the giant fucking Waldos out at all times?
And there's better ways to differentiate him from Miles.
I saw this take online that I really, really like. That's like the start of the game, Peter would just be completely normal, maybe like an enhanced trick system or something like that, so he can actually like put some personality and flair into his swinging. And then he'll get the symbiote, and the symbiote will give him like tentacles, and he'll get really accustomed to fighting with the tentacles and get like really addicted to it, like he does in the comics. He gets really addicted to the symbiote, and then when the symbiote gets pulled away from him, he'll be like, "Oh my fucking god, how do I do this anymore?" And be like, "Oh, Doc Ock, he made the tentacles. I'll use the tentacles, and then attaches those to his suit, and that's like where we see him at the end, where he's like webbing onto the car in the trailer, with the Waldos out. I assume that'll be later into the game. Maybe have like Craven there as like the final boss after Venom's already dealt with.
Yeah,
But I
maybe.
saw that and I was like, I really like that idea because it gives Peter a realistic reason to use the Waldos instead of just shoving them in there to make him different.
Yeah, just give him web wings. I want web wings.
If they made web wings a suit power, I would never take it off.
Huh. So, Black Panther 2 premieres on Friday. Depending on where you are on the world, it may be different. But for me, and for Hal probably, it premieres on Friday. And
who's Hal? I'm Steve Buscemi.
Okay, Steve Buscemi. What are your thoughts on and concerns for Black Panther 2?
My thoughts for Black Panther 2, I hope it's good, because if it's not good, then everyone's gonna blame it on the fact that there's a female lead. And I really admire, I don't know her name, the woman that took the lead role in this movie, because this is like maximum risk, maximum reward kind of scenario.
Yeah,
because if this movie bombs, she is fucking screwed.
Yeah, so I mean, she got into some controversy recently, which is a little reason why people are concerned. But she's been a great actor in the past. I think it'll be fine. If the movie fails, yes, people may criticize that part, but I think that there's a low chance that this movie succeeds, and it's because of how. And I actually think there's a higher chance that it's going to be split. Because you have a lot of people still wishing that they recasted T'Challa. A lot of people find.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the recasting T'Challa?
I think that it's the best they could have done. Either way, people would be upset. There's nothing they could have done to make everybody happy.
There was absolutely no winning.
But
in this situation.
Almost everybody in the beginning agreed that not recasting him was the right way to go. And it's only more recently that we start to see a lot more people joining the recast T'Challa thing, because it felt wrong to recast him almost immediately, and the movie was already like getting into production. Either they'd have to delay it years, or they'd have to, which at that point they thought, let's just not recast him. This is the best thing we could do. They wouldn't have had the foresight to think that their minds would change that much. I think that they did the best thing that they could do, and people are going to have to live with it, because it's not like they're just going to scrap the movie less than a week before the movie premieres just to recast him. It's not going to happen. And Marvel hasn't recasted a character this big before.
Yeah.
Like the biggest recasting was from the second movie. It was Iron Man 2 recasting War Machine.
Oh yeah.
They handled it perfectly. But back then, nobody cared about the MCU.
I do like that they called attention to that in the movie, where it was like, it's me, I'm here now, you gotta deal with it in the conference scene. I like that little nod to something is amiss.
Yeah, I love that. It was a perfect way of handling it. But he wasn't that big of a character, and the MCU wasn't that big. So they did the best thing they could do.
I do enjoy Don Cheadle as War Machine more than I don't remember the first guy's name.
Howard.
Like Terrence Howard. Yeah, that was it. I do enjoy him more as War Machine. I feel like he's got like more personality than Terrence ever did.
Yeah, and I hope
to be like a spiteful person.
Speaking of which, Armor Wars is apparently going to be a Disney Plus movie now instead of a series. I believe that's going to be the first Marvel. It's going to be the first Marvel Disney Plus movie. And it's going to lead Don Cheadle as War Machine. And I think that's perfect, because Don Cheadle was like Falcon in a lot of ways, where he wasn't loved. Despite appearing in so many movies, he had no lore. And War Machine is very much in that same boat, where I think going forward, it's going to be really I've always found him to be an interesting character, and I think seeing more and letting him grow a little bit as a character is going to definitely be good, and I can't wait for Armor Wars to come out for that to happen.
I can't wait for that either. I really wish that they were setting that up as him being the new Iron Man. I know that's like a big departure from the comics, like a massive departure, because I don't think War Machine ever becomes like actually Iron Man. It's usually
I think he
defaulted
has
to
in
like
some what
a
ifs or something.
protege or a daughter. I really don't like the like the daughter route that they're taking, or whoever they're having as the new Iron Man, and like the Iron Heart stuff that they were talking about a while ago. I just don't like that concept compared to having Don Cheadle take over the mantle of Iron Man. If Don Cheadle took over the mantle of Iron Man, I wouldn't be like too upset about it. I would still be upset that it's not RDJ and like the classic Iron Man that I love and is like my second favorite superhero, but like War Machine would still be good. He would be okay.
Yeah, I believe the only time I can think of right now that he became Iron Man is, I believe, a Marvel Zombies comic.
Huh.
Where Iron Man was like a big drunk in this universe, like bigger than he normally is in the comics, and he drank some sort of nanites to stop the zombies. So when they like tore him apart, they disintegrated themselves, and I believe War Machine became the new Iron Man in that. I think. So back to Black Panther. I think I think that they did the best that they could do, but I don't think that they maybe are doing the best that they can do in all ways. Because like I hear the criticism that it looks like it's gonna just be a funeral. And with the song revealed from Rihanna, I think that's who wrote it or sung it, for probably the end credits, I'm assuming. It's a big difference from the original end credit song, which has a similar like vibe, or a similar like genre and like type of music, except it was very epic. It was very epic music in the first movie, and this one sounds depressing. And I think that makes me worried that those criticisms are true, that it's just going to be a massive funeral instead of the first half hour being a funeral and then the rest being uplifting and hopeful. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, that definitely should be how it was, because like T'Challa and Chadwick definitely deserve like a really big ceremony and like send off even within the universe that he was playing in. But I don't think making the entire movie depressing is the way to go. I do think that they should acknowledge the fact that it's a huge tragedy, but then move on to a hopeful, uplifting thing that makes you excited for the future towards the end half of the movie.
In other news, we got Marvel Studios Legends Black Panther episode is now streaming on Disney Plus, as well as a few bits of news coming from Marvel, as well as Agatha, Coven of Chaos, casting Aubrey Plaza, as well as Maria Vizia and Elian. I really butchered those names. Music from Black Panther Wakanda Forever is on streaming. As well as the song we were just talking about, Lift Me Up from Rihanna. Yes, I was correct in that. And then last bit of news from Disney. There are rumors, I guess, that there's a Vision show in the works.
A Vision show?
Yeah, probably starring White Vision from WandaVision.
I don't know how I feel about that. Vision's not been... I really want to like Vision because I love Jarvis, and like Vision is just Jarvis given a body, but they they've been using him so terribly ever since he became Vision in Age of Ultron. He's just been really poorly used, I think.
Yeah, I've never really cared much about him. I think he wasn't bad in WandaVision, but
I've never cared much about him, but I want to care about him because he's one of my favorite characters given a body, because Jarvis was such like a snarky little bitch, for lack of a better term. But then you give him a body and he became such like a limp character. I really wish Vision was like more badass and like had more cool scenes to himself. But like, what's the one thing that you remember him doing in Infinity War? Getting punched in the throat and then getting a chunk ripped out of his face.
yeah,
Like that's the only part of Infinity War and Vision you remember when you think about Vision.
yeah.
And like, I wish Vision was just a cooler character, I guess. I really like his power set.
Huh. So in other news, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry for how I'm about to butcher this. Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Man, when you said butcher, I didn't know you meant like that.
Is tapped to lead Wonder Man for Disney Plus, most likely. If you'll probably know him, he played Black Manta in Aquaman.
All
right. So speaking of upcoming Disney Plus series, what are your opinions on Spider-Man freshman year?
Spider-Man freshman year. Oh boy. Well, I don't really like the design that they're using for Peter. I feel like they could have gone with like a more Ultimate Spider-Man, or even just like classic looking Spider-Man. He kind of just looks like a bitch. But I know that's kind of like the whole point of him, where he's like he's a bitch by day and Spider-Man by night. But like, there's something about the art style that I don't really fuck with. But I'll definitely watch it. That's probably when I'll get my Disney Plus subscription and binge everything under the sun that they have. I've just been waiting and letting things pile up, and that's when I'm finally gonna fully watch The Mandalorian instead of just watching like parts of it. The Mandalorian season 2, probably Obi-Wan Kenobi as well.
Mandalorian season 3 comes out not too long from now, I believe, and I'm looking forward to that.
I just want to get the most bang for my buck whenever I buy a Disney Plus subscription, because I like saving money.
I watch so much on Disney Plus. I just constantly have a subscription, because if I'm not watching something new, I'm watching something old, and it's just and it's so worth it with the Hulu ESPN Plus bundle. I don't watch ESPN Plus, but it's literally, I think it's a 1 cent more to just bundle in ESPN Plus in there, and it's like, why not? Maybe one day I'm just gonna wake up and feel like watching football.
Yeah, you're telling me you're not a sports fan? You're telling me you look over to our right and you see some superheroes on the wall, and you're telling me you're not a sports fan? Are you serious?
I love the fact that I could hear your cogs turning in your head. Which side is the superhero suit again?
No, because it's my right and it's your left. So I had to commit to one, but I didn't.
You could have just said to our side. Just over here, like,
yeah, I had options. I just didn't think of them fast enough.
Yeah, you it tends to be a running.
Okay.
We
don't have to get into all that right now.
Yeah. So, fun fact: there will most likely be bloopers at the end of this of us recording the set.
So that's how you feel.
And it took Hal. You might have seen the things in the background.
What things in the background?
And at one point, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, comes down right behind me, and it took Hal around 8 minutes to do that properly.
Oh my god! Listen, it flips my controls. It was hard.
Man had to figure out what up and down was on the spot.
Who the fuck is
that? Oh my god. It's getting old, Hal.
Okay. But yeah, that's a little Easter egg. That's the first time I ever played Spider-Man, and I played a black man.
That is racist.
How is it racist to point out that I played a black man?
So going away from
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, moving on to outside the MCU, but still Marvel. Andy Serkis is not returning to direct Venom 3. However, Kelly Marcel would be directing it after writing the first two entries, or co-writing. He's too busy, in his own words.
Too busy for Venom. Are you shitting me?
He said, and I quote, "Look, I had a ball doing Let There Be Carnage. Tom Hardy is such a good friend of mine, and I felt proud of the work, and we had such fun doing it. To be the custodian of that franchise for a little while was great. I've got so many." This is a really long quote. I'm not saying this. I thought it was going to be short. Basically,
yeah, you're really committed to that.
Basically, he has a lot of projects, and he's too busy.
Wow, what a bitch.
To Venom 3.
So, what do you think Venom 3 will be about?
I'm interested, actually. I hope they kind of explain away what happened in No Way Home, and I'm interested to see kind of what happens. Are they gonna bring up the fact that he left a piece of him behind? Are they gonna mention the MCU? Are they gonna try to find their way back to the MCU? What's gonna happen there? I'm interested. I'm definitely, and of course, spoilers for Morbius. If you haven't seen it, it's the best film of all time.
Oh my fucking god! I'm gonna come over that table. I'm gonna come over this table, and I'm gonna.
So, have you seen Morbius, Hal?
No, I've not seen Morbius. Thank God.
Okay, do you care about spoilers?
No, it's fucking Morbius.
Okay, so spoilers. At the end, in the post-credit sequence, Vulture from the MCU gets transported somehow into Morbius's universe, dons the new Vulture gear, and heads over to Morbius saying, "I don't know how I got here, but I bet it had something to do with Spider-Man. I'd say we team up." And I believe
so they actually name drop Spider-Man.
However, I believe
Vulture and Spider-Man both got cut.
I think I heard somewhere that it was edited for the digital and physical release of the film to remove the reference to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But in theaters, he name dropped Spider-Man.
That's what I heard. They really aren't committing to whether they're gonna bring Spider-Man into the Sonyverse or not. And I feel like they've been having a Sonyverse without a Spider-Man for far fucking too long. Yeah. They need a Spider-Man in that universe.
I'm wondering if they're trying to treat as close as possible to the MCU, and Kevin Feige just keeps slapping their wrist away from that cookie jar.
I mean, they are really having an Icarus moment. They are flying as close to the sun as possible. They're this close to having a Spider-Man, and my hope for Venom 3 is this. It starts with him coming back from the MCU being like, whoa, what the fuck happened? Who's Spider-Man? And then he's gonna know who Peter Parker is because he's got some fucking stupid thing. He's like, oh, that guy, and then licks the TV or whatever. So he now knows that Peter Parker exists, and he goes to look for Peter Parker in his universe, and it's Andrew fucking Garfield. And Andrew Garfield will be the Sonyverse Spider-Man. And then after Venom 3 wraps up, a piece of the symbiote will be left on Andrew, and then that'll lead into TASM 3, and Andrew will get one more solo movie.
Alright.
That is my hope for Venom 3, and that is why I'm gonna see Venom 3 and be so disappointed it's crazy, because that's definitely not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, I just realized that I never actually said anything about freshman year, and I want to add that I think the art style is amazing, and I don't care how bad it is, I'm going to watch it for the art style alone. It looks like it was ripped straight out of the 60s, and I love it. I think the kind of separating it from the MCU, but still kind of in the MCU, is kind of annoying and kind of cool at the same time. The fact that it's a what if, saying instead of Tony Stark, Norman Osborn.
Okay, I just googled freshman year, and Spider-Man in here looks a lot different than what I thought he looked like. I actually kind of like the way he looks, but
So I think the story's interesting, and I see some people definitely speculating, thinking that it's gonna be bad. But I've seen some people think that it may be the best Spider-Man show since Spectacular. That's how much faith some people have in it.
I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because it's Spider-Man.
I mean, the fact that it's shaping up to be so classic, like such like a retro show, and it's gonna be so comic booky. I could see that's how some people have so much faith in it. Because it's weird that some like media goes definitely go a little bit away from the comics, right? You don't want it to just be the comics, but some things go so far away from it, and that started to die down a bit. Where like the original X-Men movies, they went so far away from the comics. It's like, why? We've gotten these stories for close to a century at this point.
Wow.
Over this time, they've been perfected. These storylines are perfected. Why completely turn around and throw it in the dumpster?
Yeah.
I
It's really trying to reinvent the wheel here when we've got like the best wheel possible.
Yeah, it's weird, and I'm fine with things being different from the comics because they need to be, and it would be so boring. And like I think Far From Home did such a good job with Mysterio, where I think I almost was tricked into thinking they did redo Mysterio so much that he's actually a good guy. And then they laughed in my face for thinking that for even a second.
They did debate you with that.
I was so shocked and so happy that like I'm like, really, this is the end of the movie? This doesn't feel like it was that long, but it feels like it's wrapping up. And then it just slapped me in the face. It laughed. It spat in my face and laughed, and I loved every minute of it.
That's going on the quotes channel. You fucking masochist.
But like I think changing things from the comics is definitely good. But when you kind of laugh at the comics like they did in those earlier X-Men movies, and like Deadpool, like let's not even get into Deadpool from the original movies. It really is trying to reinvent the wheel, and I think it's not a great way. Yeah. Moving on to a little bit of DC. Titans episodes 1 and 2 are out. They stream further episodes stream on Thursdays on HBO Max. And I think the first 2 episodes, not to spoil anything, because I don't even think Hal's seen it, and I don't know if he wants to, but
probably not.
It was pretty good. There's a few problems I have with it that I'll maybe get into in a few weeks when more people have seen it. But I think it was good ultimately. But there are definitely some issues I take within certain parts of like setting and a little bit of weird things character wise. But I enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be tuning in next Thursday to watch another episode. I do find it funny. I slight spoilers, but I'm like 90% sure this was probably in the trailers, but I never saw any of the trailers. I only just found out that even thing. But I do find it funny, the consistent trope of the fact that they cannot cast anyone who looks like Lex Luthor. Why is it so hard to find somebody who looks like Lex Luthor?
Oh my god, no. You don't understand. I was watching Crisis of Infinite Earths, and I used to watch that dumb fucking show. My parents would put it on. For
2.5 Men.
2.5 Men when I was a kid. And
Me too.
I saw fucking Alan Harper strut out of a fucking portal and go, "Hi, I'm Lex Luthor."
See,
and I'm like, "No, you're fucking not."
It's funny because I don't hate him as Lex Luthor. I think he's a pretty good Lex Luthor ultimately, but again, it's just they just cast a bald dude and call it a day.
I don't think he was the worst Lex Luthor I've ever seen, but Jesus fucking Christ, if they casted any bald man, they could have casted Seth Everman as Lex Luthor, and I would have enjoyed it so much more than fucking Alan Harper.
It's like
I can't take him seriously. I can't.
oh, here I'll send you a
I've
picture
seen
of
this-
what
I've
the
seen
new
this guy-
Lex Luthor looks like.
I've seen this guy fall off a roof. I can't take him seriously. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. So here's the new Lex Luthor.
That's not Lex Luthor. It looks like a serial killer.
Do you not know who Lex Luthor is?
Okay, listen. I just the animated the Justice League Super Lex Luthor the like
DCAU.
JLU. Yeah, the fucking thank you. The DCAU Lex Luthor, that's like the Lex Luthor that I always grew up with, and the Lex Luthor that I always
Well, that's because
I
it's
immediately think
animated,
of.
so that's how he pretty much looks in the comics, and that's Lex Luthor, and it's
Yeah.
almost impossible for them to find anybody who has that feeling, and it's weird. They've tried everything.
And it's also the voice. Clancy Brown, I'm pretty sure that's the voice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
He voices
that
him in like everything.
Yeah, it sounded right in my head, but I just couldn't tell. Clancy Brown is so good as Lex Luthor. I love it.
Yeah. So I think I just find that trope funny, but I think Titans is definitely worth watching.
The trope that they can't get somebody. the way he strutted out of that fucking portal. Hi, I'm Lex Luthor. Like, no, you're fucking not. Shut up. I did really like Crisis of Infinite Earths for the 30 seconds that I watched it for the Lucifer clip. It was a very enjoyable 30 seconds.
It was fun. I mean, it's the CW. What are you gonna expect? If you temper your expectations, you'll have a good time. But don't just kind of close your eyes when Batwoman's on screen, and it will be fine.
I just looked at Lucifer, and that was it.
Yeah, Constantine. I know you were joking about Constantine the other day. Exactly. I gotta be honest. The Legends of Tomorrow. If you ever feel like watching anything, Legends of Tomorrow is probably the best DCCW show, and it's so underrated. I think it's amazing because it doesn't take itself seriously and it's fun. Some parts are a little hard to watch. I'll give you that, but it's hilariously absurd. To the point where I think one of the final bad guys of one of the seasons is a giant teddy bear.
Well, I can't throw any shade. Spider-Man fought a brick wall.
Yeah. So, but one of the towards the end of the show's lifespan, it had Constantine come on as a regular, as one of the team, and Matt Ryan, I think his name is, as Constantine, is perfect. He looks like him. He sounds like him. He's so charismatic. It made me a character that I never knew even existed, and into one of like my more favorites, because Constantine in that is great, and obviously they like Matt Ryan as it because he voices Constantine in everything, including the DCAMU, which recently ended, and the Tomorrowverse DCAMU tie-in, Constantine House of Mystery, I think it's called, as well as some other spin-offs. But I think it's pretty good. Speaking of shows, though, Batgirl was recently, and by recently, I mean this is the first podcast we have really old news to talk about.
Yeah, we're just retreading ground. That's fine.
The Batgirl movie, if you may have heard, was canceled. It was completely finished, and they threw it away like a bad haircut.
I'm really surprised. These days, with everything being so like corporate and like it's all about money. It's money all the time. Money, money, money. I'm surprised they were willing. I'm surprised they thought it was so bad.
No,
they actually threw it away.
They thought.
Actually, no, they threw it away for the tax write-off, didn't they?
I don't know. They've been looking for more money, and that's like the new CEO's job. is to somehow find like I think $6 billion or something. And
what is he gonna do? Go out with a fucking shovel? Like, I
yeah,
don't know who's
like
gonna go
I don't know
find
how
$6 billion.
I don't know how the best idea is to throw away $190 million of two completed projects, Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt. They just threw away. They were completely done.
Oh, I completely forgot about Scoob.
There was no distribution because it was going to be on HBO Max. I don't know how that saves them money, but
It sounds like a big loss.
they're also taking off other streaming things, like, for instance,
Like Blue Beetle.
Aquaman, King of Atlantis. Blue Beetle, I think, is still planning on being made, right?
I think they haven't said anything about Blue Beetle yet, but everyone was like thinking because they were slashing all these things of a similar style that Blue Beetle was also going to be on the chopping block.
Well, who knows if it's been canceled now? But there was a leak saying that they were working on a Scooby-Doo and Legion of Superheroes crossover film.
Oh my god.
Which I think would be fun.
I mean, I guess.
But the Aquaman King of Atlantis was removed from the platform and brings to question a lot of things about accessibility with media. For instance, the fact that Aquaman King of Atlantis is an HBO Max original, and they removed it from their platform.
Damn.
Meaning the only way you can watch it now, which it does not look interesting, so I probably never will, is through piracy, and it kind of stinks.
I do like when companies give you the option to give them money, because like I don't like pirating things. Everyone will be in the VCs and like using all these like weird shady pirate sites, and I'm just like, I'll just go give Disney my like a couple dollars or something.
Yeah, because
let them have their fun. It just feels like the right thing to do. I feel like an asshole pirating things.
Yeah.
But then there'll be companies like Nintendo and shit where
Yeah,
it's like,
where they-
you can't buy this console.
Yeah.
You can't buy this game. You can't do any of this. You can't do any of it. And if you try and do it yourself through like a slightly illegal mean, then fuck you, go die, nerd, die.
It's artificial. It's artificial scarcity, and Disney was basically like the definition of it for a while with the Disney Vault, where they just randomly lock away movies. And the Disney Vault existed up until the release of Disney Plus, where, like, for instance, Toy Story 3, you just couldn't buy it. And it's like, why?
Toy Story 3.
So it's weird. I'm not sure if you could buy it. You might have been able to buy it digitally, but I know you couldn't buy it physically for a while. It's like, why? Just why? It's there's no reason for it, because people, it's just artificial scarcity, and it's just gonna make it so people get annoyed at you. No other way, because if we want to give you money, let us give you money.
Yeah, not even artificial scarcity in this case that I'm talking about with Nintendo. They don't make the console anymore. They don't produce the console. They don't produce the games. They don't produce the attachments. They don't produce any of that shit anymore. They are not losing a cent by me going on the internet and downloading some sketchy Pokemon ROM and loading that shit up. But they're like, oh, you're gonna get fucking blasted by the 9 gates of hell. Like,
why?
I would give you money to be able to play Pokemon Fire Red. I would pay you. I would give you the money. I would buy the console. I would buy the game. I would buy all of it. But you don't give me the option to. So what am I supposed to do? Just not? And then Nintendo just goes, yes.
It really is.
I like when no company is truly consumer friendly, but I like when they at least try and make the facade that they're consumer friendly. Like, come on.
Yeah. So Black Adam released recently as well, and that was pretty good. I went and saw it. Hal hasn't.
I've seen some things about it though. I've seen that picture of Dwayne Johnson really close to the camera.
Yeah, it was fun. I can't wait for it to come onto HBO Max for me to watch it again, because it was fun, and I think just a classic superhero movie is kind of what we need right now. So I'm glad that Black Adam came around, and Dr. Fate. Oh my gosh, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate is perfect. He's the one without eyes that you dislike.
Oh yeah, of course. But I do think that more movies, more superhero movies, should be starting to shy away from the whole multiverse thing. Like, I think it's getting a little old having every movie tie into another movie that ties into another movie. Like, just make a movie for the sake of making it.
Yeah, the thing that made Marvel so popular, is kind of becoming a detriment. Yeah, and I'm glad that they're starting to realize that, and they're like, okay, let's still keep it connected because that's our whole thing, but separate it out a little bit. We don't need to have every single film have 7 cameos. She-Hulk did not need to have Wong, Daredevil, 7 other people that showed up. Hulk. You know, it's like, why?
I think Hulk makes sense.
Yes, but like
it's She-Hulk.
But Wong and Daredevil, and I think someone else showed up.
Wong and Daredevil don't make any sense. You said Wong, and I'm like, Wong? Are you kidding me?
It doesn't make sense. And I'm glad that I think they're starting to realize that, or just we've gotten a few smart directors. Because Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night, you wouldn't have even known that they're in the MCU. Like, you can totally watch them alone and completely know what's going on. Unlike She-Hulk, where you'd be so confused if that's the first MCU thing you'd watch.
I do hope they put Moon Knight in more MCU things, like have him show up in like a final battle of some movie or something, where he just like shows up and does the whole like bondage thing, and he's like, Moon Knight. I think that would be cool, because Moon Knight's always been a character that I enjoyed, and ever since they gave him his own show and like actually brought some attention to the character, it's been really nice.
I love the suit. I love the risk of the suit, making it all white. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh.
I do love the suit. I have it in Fortnite.
Moving on. So the
Wow, I really threw you for a loop with that one.
I completely lost my train of thought.
So you want to
what were we talking about before Moon Knight?
We were talking about Fortnite. No, we were talking about Black Adam.
Oh, the cameos. Yeah, so like I think how it should be is we get movies that are basically standalone films. That was the whole point of them being called standalone films. So maybe we should go back to having them be standalone films. And then, you know, we get team up movies where they team up. And like it can be fine if like it's a movie where like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange team up. Like I'm like it's but do we really also need, you know, a like if Doctor Strange is only going to appear for 2 seconds, what's the point?
Yeah. I think having cameos that aren't like
integral to the story.
Integral to the plot. Unless it's like an homage kind of cameo, like Nolan North in the Uncharted
I wouldn't call that a cameo in the same way we're talking about, where it's just like 100%. If like Bruce Campbell, he needed to be in Multiverse of Madness, but you know we don't need Wong appearing in She-Hulk. Like there's no point. He had barely any reason to be there. I mean, yes, he had reason to be there story-wise, but like
because they made it that way.
Because they
forced him to be there because they needed the cameo, so they forced him to be there.
So like, but why? He appeared barely at all. It makes no sense. He's such a random character.
Yeah,
and it's just
he kind of just
it enforces the idea that you need to watch every film, and it turns new people away.
Yeah. Personally, I just watch it if it has Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, I know how you just sit there and just keep watching stuff only if it has Spider-Man.
Yeah, that is what I like to do. Well, we have been going for an hour, 9 minutes, and 5 seconds, so maybe we should wrap this one up and find more topics
as
for
a
next week.
final thing to note, around this time last year, Eternals came out, and
Don't talk to me about Eternals.
and while I do believe the movie is visually stunning, I do believe that it is extremely forgettable.
No.
Well then,
I'm back.
hello, hello,
Hi.
how?
Do you feel lonely with nobody across the table?
I actually was kind of relieved, and look, there's somebody across the table from me now, so I would have had a replacement soon.
Ah, well, that's just hurtful.
But I do believe it was boring, and forgettable in the same way that, like, when I'm making, like, lists of, like, tier rankings of movies and shows from the MCU, what do I always forget? Inhumans. Everybody always forgets about Inhumans because it is so forgettable. And I don't think it was terrible. I think it deserved a second season. I think it was bad, but I think it deserved a second season because I think the casting of Black Bolt was perfect. And I think I'm glad that he is getting a chance to play him again. So, yeah,
I feel like Eternals is the movie that people who don't know Marvel movies say that they don't like Marvel because of it. And they're like, oh, I don't like Marvel because of this, this, and this. And it's like, other Marvel movies don't do that, and that, but the Eternals does. Like, the Eternals being, like, super boring, just punching and, like, action and whatever. Like, all that shit just shines through in Eternals as being, like, a really negative part of the film. But in every other, like, Marvel movie since, like, I don't even know, Iron Man 1 has been, like, really great in like, all of the fighting regards and, like, all of the special effects. And, like, Eternals is a really beautiful looking movie, but I just feel like it really encapsulates that like soulless punch fest that people criticize the MCU, but only from people who haven't actually seen an MCU movie.
Yeah. But I apparently a decent amount of people do think it's misunderstood. It's been trending for a little while, and I guess
I understand
people
that
think
dog
it's
shit.
Yeah, it's just nothing. There's not much about the movie that I think jumps out at me and says this is stupid, but it's just so boring. And maybe something jumping out and being a little bit more controversial was what it needed, because I think a movie being bad, like just absolutely trash, is better than it being boring.
Okay, so let's compare Eternals to Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius. All press is good press, as they say. Morbius was so bad that it was good.
Okay.
And not in a so bad it's good way, because that's a completely different ballpark. But I mean, it's so bad.
I think so bad it's memorable.
So bad that it's good for the company, because people are talking about their movie, and that's good. It's not as good as it being as being just a good movie, but it's better than being boring and forgettable like Eternals is. Eternals is, in a few years, nobody's even going to remember that Eternals existed. Unless they have...
I didn't even remember Eternals existed until like 2 days ago when you mentioned it to me.
Yeah, so... in other trending news, before we close this out, Release the Ayer cut is once again trending.
Oh, I did see that today. Was that, was Ayer like the director of Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of Suicide Squad, what's up? Oh, there he goes.
Who showed up?
Don't worry about it.
I looked away. I don't know who. Like, none of the characters here would be related to Suicide Squad.
Blink and you'll miss it. Alright, anyway. I did see a little bit of stuff like that, in detailing like the Joker having a better role in the movie than he actually did. And I do think one of Suicide Squad's failing points was misuse of the Joker. I just think that I don't like the look of the Joker. Yeah, Jared Leto. They need to stop casting this guy. They need to stop giving this guy a job.
I mean,
he's not good at it.
He looked good as Morbius. I don't know if he acted good as Morbius, and he was also kind of. I'm assuming he probably was just as crazy on the set of Morbius, but I think he looked like a good Morbius. I don't think he looked like a good Joker.
Joker was definitely not his role, especially with like the short hair and everything. Like it's just no.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like the Joker being better
He
in
wasn't
that movie.
Yeah, he
being
wasn't
having different casting and having better writing and a more involved role in the plot. Like
just if
the
it
tweet
was
that
a
I
different movie, then it would have been good.
Yeah, he got a bad Joker stuck in a mediocre movie. If you had a mediocre or like a bad Joker in a good movie, then like it'll just bring down the movie like a little bit depending on how involved the Joker is.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
the Joker in Suicide Squad was a bad Joker and completely sidelined. So that's just like the double negative that drove him around.
yeah. I think even if it was a good movie, it still would have been people still would have hated it because it would have been rooting the Joker. Which can we like stop getting Jokers? Like I'm kind of getting tired like of it. I mean, he's cool, okay, but like we have 3 live action Jokers right now.
Oh my god.
3. And at one point, when the Batman came out, it was technically 4 if you include Batwoman.
Oh my god. Okay, I just gotta say it outright. I don't like any Joker that isn't Mark Hamill, and that's just the way that it is.
Really? You don't like
as
Joaquin
close as
Phoenix?
No.
Really?
He doesn't feel like the Joker. He feels like a Joker-inspired character, but just the suit, the makeup, the way that he acts, he doesn't.
I mean, I can kind of get the
feel
way
like
that
the
he
Joker.
acts because it was an origin movie, and I think that movie was beautiful. But I think his suit looks amazing. It's colorful.
Really the fact that it's not purple. If it was purple, then maybe I believe it was him. But like,
I like the
Joker,
violet-y color more.
The Joker in my mind is such a recognizable character because he's got like the green hair, he's got the purple suit, he's got the white makeup, and like there's something about the way that they did his makeup that made him look too much like a real clown. That's the thing. They made him look too much like a real clown. All he's missing is a red nose, and you can mistake him for like a children's actor or something. Like they made him look too much like a clown and not enough like the Joker, because the Joker's like a twisted take on a clown. Joaquin Phoenix just looks like a clown.
Huh. Maybe.
That's just how I feel about that Joker.
Yeah,
not a big fan.
But going back to what's his name, Jared Leto's Joker, it's not like so creepy that I almost like him. It's just so creepy. Please get him off my screen.
Yeah, it's creepy. He's got like fucking damage on his forehead and the fucking teeth. He looks like a guy that's like my man goes to blow up. I don't know nobody. He looks like he's got those teeth.
How?
Yeah.
You just turned into a robot and you made the weirdest noises. Oh no, you're still a robot. Hal, come back to me.
Pain.
Try rejoining. Oh, now I just have this pizza all to myself. So, if you're enjoying this this podcast, it would be great if you subscribed to this channel to join us next week.
Subscribe.
What?
Subscribe to the channel.
And ring that bell. No, just please. I mean, if you want, do it.
Ring the bell.
Anyway, so
I'm back from the Shadow Realm. Hi.
So if we do you have anything else you want to talk about, or is that just about it?
Well, I feel like we've been going for 18 minutes over the hour, and it's almost gonna be 19 minutes. So I'll save my thoughts for next time. But this was a very enjoyable experience. You smell like a pine tree, and I had a good time. Next podcast is gonna be IRL because I'm standing right behind you.
So next week we might have a guest host.
Next week I'm gonna have a hostage.
If you have a
Skar.
recommendation of who that could be, leave it in the comment. If you have anything else you want us to talk about or hear our opinions on, also leave it in the comments.
We will be reading comments to find topics to talk about because we are bad at that.
Just to be clear, though, we cannot get Keanu Reeves as a guest host.
Fuck.
So keep it to like the Fisk Heroes community, and if
Why
you
am
have
I even here?
And I would really love if you gave us more Fisk Heroes news to talk about, because if you'll notice, this Heropack podcast only talked for about 10 minutes about Heropacks because we don't have that much news to talk about.
Because there's not much to talk about with Heropack, so that's why I said we should diversify and talk about superheroes in general. And look how well that went. This was an enjoyable experience. Not like the live stream.
No, stop. Shush. We don't talk about that.
We're not talking about it, man.
So what do you think about the Green Goblin that apparently you didn't even know existed?
No, I think I saw it, but you posted the teaser from like an upward angle, looking down at it, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it was the Green Goblin.
All right, well, if anybody doesn't know what that is the Green Goblin.
Yeah, I'm really excited because nobody's done a good Green Goblin yet, so I'm stoked to see how that turns out.
And me and Eddie are collaborating on it.
Of course you are.
Eddie's gonna code it. I'm gonna make it look cool.
Well, hopefully you can fix his Waldos.
Well, let's not be hasty. Anyway, so I think that's it. Thank you for watching. If you're here, if you stayed this far, thank you. We love you.
Yeah, then you get to enjoy the blooper at expense.
Yep, very much at Hal's expense, especially since I was muted for it, so it just sounds like Hal's talking to himself.
I'm just gonna have deranged rambling.
So thank you for watching, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye. I went the wrong way. Oh my god. God damn it! One of these days. Alright, I'm coming back down. I jumped before I activated. It says locked on the arc reactor and it freaked me out. Oh, brother, this shit again. Fuck. It's really hard. God damn it! Oh my god. What? Yeah, I know. I thought I could slip that by you. Oh my god. God fucking damn it! Alright, hold on, wait. Let me learn. Down I go down, up I go up. Down I go down, up I go up. It's so simple. It's so simple. Alright, I got it this time. Let's roll this shit. Because from my perspective, I'm upside down. So I hold down to go up, but it makes me go down. Jesus. All right. Yep, Iron Man, the man of iron, they say. Okay. I just drop down. I'm just like, "Ugh, justice, and then I grapple away. Maybe pause for a moment, just like, "Ugh, justice."